The small town on the outskirts of Portland was always gray. Especially after Hana lost her father, it became even more so. Rain fell every single day. The sky looked as if it were crying forever. Hana was 16 years old. At school, she was known as a quiet child. She didn't have many friends. But that wasn't what Hana wanted. It was simply that after her father disappeared, people began to avoid her. "Your dad's a murderer, right?" she heard someone whispering in the hallway. Hana walked with her head down. She said nothing, because she knew excuses were useless. Her father was arrested 3 months ago. A man from the neighborhood was found dead, and her father was named a suspect. The evidence seemed clear. His fingerprints were found at the scene, and there was a witness. But Hana didn't believe it. Because her father wasn't that kind of person. Her father was a quiet and gentle person. He worked at a factory. Every evening, he came home and ate dinner with Hana. "How was school today?" Her father always asked that. Hana missed that voice. Her mother was different. After her father was arrested, her mother changed quickly. At first, she cried. But within a month, she brought a new man home. His name was Kyle Jefferson. Kyle pretended to be kind. "Hana, it's hard, isn't it? I'll help you." That's what he said. But Hana didn't believe those words. Because Kyle's eyes felt cold. His smile wasn't real. One evening, Hana spoke to her mother in the kitchen. "Mom, can we talk about Dad?" Her mother stopped washing dishes. "Hana, let's stop talking about that now." "But Mom, Dad wouldn't have done it." "I know." That's when Kyle appeared. "Hana, don't make things hard for your mother." His voice was soft, but his gaze was sharp. "Why don't you stop talking about that now?" Hana closed her mouth. Because she felt it was useless to say more. That night, Hana opened her bedroom window. Cold rain and wind brushed against her face. In the distance, she saw someone walking. It was Kyle. He was heading somewhere in the deep night. Hana's heart pounded. She had a feeling something was wrong. But she couldn't be sure yet. She just felt it instinctively. This person is dangerous. The next morning, on the way to school, she met Uncle Dave. Uncle Dave was her father's old friend. "Hana, are you doing okay?" Hana nodded. "Uncle, Dad, he really didn't do it." Uncle Dave quietly looked around. Then he spoke in a low voice. "I think so too. But you need to be careful." "Why?" "That man in your house. Don't trust him." Hana felt like her breath stopped. Uncle Dave was also suspicious of Kyle. "Uncle, what do you mean?" "I can't say yet. But you'll find out soon." Uncle Dave said that and disappeared. Hana went to school but couldn't concentrate on class. Her head was filled with thoughts of her father and Kyle. There's something hidden. That evening, Hana decided to search for something. When she returned home, Kyle was sitting in the living room. "Hana, who did you meet at school today?" His question sounded casual, but there was an intention hidden somewhere. "No one." Hana answered briefly and went into her room. That night, Hana secretly entered her father's room. Her mother was already asleep, and Kyle had gone out somewhere. Hana began searching behind the bookshelf. She saw dusty boxes and old documents. And inside, she found a small USB drive. Hana's hands trembled. She didn't know what it contained, but she sensed it was important. She turned on her laptop and connected the USB. A list of files appeared on the screen. They were notes organized by date. Hana clicked on the last file. And the moment she read the sentence written inside, her entire body froze. Kyle was burning blood-stained gloves behind the factory. Hana couldn't breathe. Her father had already known that Kyle was the real culprit. And because of that, her father had been sacrificed. She heard the sound of a car outside. Kyle had returned. Hana hurriedly hid the USB and returned to her room. Her heart pounded as if it would burst. What should I do now? Hana looked out the window. The rain was still falling. But now Hana knew that she had to reveal the truth. That she had to save her father. And from that moment, Hana's fight began. The next morning, Hana woke up early. She hadn't slept properly all night. The contents of the USB wouldn't leave her mind. Dad already knew. She left the house pretending to go to school. But Hana's destination was elsewhere. It was Uncle Dave's house. Because he was the only person she could trust. Uncle opened the door with a surprised expression. "Hana, what about school?" "Uncle, please look at this." Hana took out the USB and showed it. Uncle took the USB and sat in front of the computer. As he opened the files one by one, his expression hardened. Where did you find this? In Dad's room. It was hidden behind the bookshelf. After a long silence, Uncle spoke. Your father had been suspicious of Kyle even before the incident. Really? Yes. There were strange things happening at the factory. Your father told me. Hannah's heart raced. Then Kyle is the real culprit? It's not certain yet, but the possibility is high. Uncle pointed at the screen. Look here. Your father recorded it by date. Kyle's behavior. The screen was filled with short notes. October 5th, Kyle went to the back of the factory late at night. October 12th, witnessed him burning blood-stained gloves. October 18th, Kyle seems to suspect me. Hannah's hands trembled. Dad knew the danger. Yes. And eventually, Uncle couldn't continue his words. Hana felt like crying but held it back. Uncle, we need to take this to the police. Not yet. Why not? This is evidence. Uncle shook his head. This alone isn't enough. It's just your father's notes. Then what do? We need more solid evidence. Like CCTV footage or physical evidence. Hana felt frustration wash over her. Even though she found such an important clue, she couldn't do anything. But the CCTV footage from the crime scene already disappeared. About that, Uncle hesitated for a moment, then spoke. Actually, there might be a CCTV backup. Really? All footage is backed up in the factory security room. A month's worth. Hana felt hope. Then we just need to go there. The problem is, getting that data isn't easy. Why? Because Kyle manages the security room. Hana felt breathless. Kyle manages the security room. Then there was a possibility he destroyed the evidence. Then, is it over? No. There's a way. Uncle spoke quietly. I know someone at the factory. A night security guard. Can he help us? Maybe. But it's dangerous. If we get caught, we'll all be in trouble. Hana thought for a moment. She knew it was dangerous. But it was the only way to save her father. I'll do it. I can do it. Uncle looked at Hana. In his eyes were both worry and trust. All right, let's go tonight. Thank you, Uncle. On the way home, Hana was nervous. She couldn't let Kyle find out. She had to act as usual. When she arrived home, she saw Kyle's car. He had already come home from work. Hana took a deep breath and opened the door. Hana, you're home. Kyle was sitting on the sofa. He wore his usual smile. But now Hana knew what was hidden behind that smile. Yes, I'm home. Hana answered briefly and tried to go to her room. Wait, Kyle called out. Where did you go after school today? Hana's heart sank. How does he know? I just went to the library. Kyle slowly stood up. He approached Hana. The library? Really? Yes. Hana avoided Kyle's eyes. Kyle pointed at Hana's bag. Can I see your bag? Why? Just curious. I want to see what you're studying. Hana clutched her bag tightly. The USB was inside. If he found it, everything would be over. I don't want to. It's my bag. Kyle's expression changed. The smile disappeared and cold eyes were revealed. Hana, are you hiding something from me? No. Then why won't you show me your bag? That's when her mother appeared. What's wrong? What's happening? It's nothing, Mom. Hana quickly went into her room and closed the door. She heard Kyle and her mother talking outside. That kid has been acting strange lately. She's a teenager. Please understand. No, she's hiding something. Hana took the USB out of her bag and hid it deep in her desk drawer. Her hands trembled. I just need to hold on until tonight. Dinner time was painful. Kyle kept staring at Hana. Hana, are you getting along well with your friends these days? Yes. How is Uncle Dave doing these days? Hana's breath stopped. Why was he suddenly talking about Uncle Dave? He seems to be doing well. Did you see him recently? No. Kyle smiled. But that smile felt like a warning. I see. Good. At 11 at night, Hana opened the window. She quietly went outside. Uncle Dave was waiting at the end of the alley. Are you ready? Yes. The two walked into the darkness. As they headed to the factory, Hana made a resolution. I will definitely find the evidence. But Hana didn't know that Kyle was watching from beyond the window. A cell phone was in his hand. This is interesting, Kyle muttered coldly, and he began to make a call. The road to the factory was dark. The streetlights were off here and there. Hana and Uncle Dave walked in silence. Are you scared? Uncle asked quietly. Hana shook her head. It was a lie. They stood in front of the factory wall. Uncle looked around. The guard should have left the back door open. Is he really trustworthy? He's my friend. Don't worry. When they went around to the back, the door was slightly open. The two carefully went inside. The corridor was empty. The security room is on the second floor. Uncle pointed at the stairs. Hana followed, holding her breath. Her footsteps seemed too loud. When they went up to the second floor, they saw a lit room at the end of the corridor. It was the security room. A guard was standing in front of the door. Dave, you came. The guard smiled slightly. Sorry, Junho, for asking so late. It's okay, but hurry. You only have 30 minutes. The three entered the security room. Monitors filled the wall. Junho sat in front of the computer. What date do you need? October 12th, Hana said in a trembling voice. It was the date written in her father's notes. Junho entered the date. The footage began playing on the screen. It was the back of the factory. It was around 11 p.m. A person appeared in the darkness. It was Kyle. He was carrying something. Hana focused on the screen. Kyle looked around and then stood in front of a drum. He lit a fire. The footage was shaky but clear. Kyle was burning something. They were white gloves. The gloves had dark stains on them. That's it. Uncle Dave inhaled sharply. Hana's hands trembled. It was evidence. Can you copy this? Of course. Junho took out a USB and began copying the file. That's when it happened. Footsteps were heard in the corridor. Junho froze. Someone's coming. At this hour? Uncle Dave tensed up. The footsteps grew closer. The door opened. Kyle was standing there. He slowly smiled. Dave, it's been a while. Kyle's voice was calm, but his eyes were cold. And Hana, what are you doing here? Hana couldn't open her mouth. Her mind went blank. How did he know to come here? Kyle, this is... Uncle Dave began to speak, but Kyle raised his hand. You don't need to explain. I know everything. Kyle entered the room. Junho stepped back. I know what you're looking for. Then, Hana gathered courage. Why did you do such a thing? Kyle looked at Hana. Your father got in the way. His voice was calm. He was going to talk about what he saw. So you killed him? Kyle didn't answer. Instead, he approached the computer. Delete that file, he said to Junho. No, Hana shouted. That's the only evidence. That's why I'm deleting it. Uncle Dave stepped forward. Kyle, you're already finished. We'll report this to the police. Report? With what? Kyle scoffed. The evidence will disappear soon. He spoke to Junho again. Delete it quickly, or you'll be in trouble too. Junho hesitated. His hand trembled over the keyboard. Hana felt despair wash over her. That's when Uncle Dave moved quickly. He pulled the USB from the computer and put it in his pocket. Hana, run. Hana instinctively ran toward the door. Kyle reached out his arm, but Uncle blocked him. Hurry. Hana ran down the corridor. She heard shouting behind her. Tears came as she went down the stairs. She got outside. Cold air hit her face. Hana didn't stop running. She caught her breath at the alley corner. She looked back, but no one was following. But Uncle wasn't visible. She took out her phone. She called Uncle, but he didn't answer. Hana called again with trembling hands. Still no answer. Her chest tightened. Uncle. Hana wanted to collapse, but she couldn't. Suddenly she checked her pocket. The USB was there. Uncle had passed it to her. Hana gripped the USB tightly. Tears flowed down, but she couldn't give up. It was evidence Uncle had protected with his life. Now Hana was alone, but she could do it. Hana stood up. She walked on trembling legs. She had to go to the police station. The dawn air was cold, but Hana's heart was hot. Dad, please wait a little longer. Hana walked through the darkness and made a resolution. She would definitely reveal the truth. For Uncle's sake, too. In the distance, the lights of the police station were visible. Hana quickened her pace. Hope still remained. She stood in front of the police station door. Hana took a deep breath. The USB in her hand felt heavy. She went inside. The officer on duty looked up. What brings you here? I came to report something. Hana held out the USB. This is evidence. My father is innocent. The officer looked puzzled. Who is your father? Kong Minsu. He was arrested 3 months ago. The officer's expression changed. Wait a moment. He went inside. After a while, a detective came out. I'm in charge of that case. Come here. Hana was led to the interrogation room. The detective introduced himself as Detective Park. What evidence did you bring? Hana handed over the USB. There's CCTV footage in this. Detective Park connected the USB to the computer. The footage played on the screen. It was the scene of Kyle burning gloves. Detective Park stared intently at the screen. Is this really footage from that night? Yes. It's from October 12th. Where did you get this? Hana hesitated. Should she tell about Uncle Dave? From the factory security room. It was a backup file. Detective Park nodded. You did well. With this, we can reinvestigate. Hana's heart raced. Then my father. It's not certain, but there's hope. Detective Park said gently. Wait a few days. We'll check it out. Hana felt like crying, but she held it back. Thank you. When she left the police station, the sky was brightening. It was dawn. Hana was tired, but her heart was light. She was on her way home. Suddenly her phone rang. It was Uncle Dave. Uncle. Hana shouted. Hana, are you okay? Yes. What about you? I'm okay too. I've been to the police station. Really? Yes. I left my statement too. About what we saw. Hana felt relieved. I delivered the USB too. You did well. You're really brave. Uncle's voice was warm. Uncle, I'm sorry for putting you in danger. No, this is what I wanted to do. Uncle, your father was my friend. I had to do it for him. Hana choked up. Thank you. She hung up and entered the house. Her mother was sitting in the living room. Her face was pale. Hana, where were you? Her mother's voice trembled. The police station. Her mother's eyes widened. Why? I brought evidence to prove Dad's innocence. Her mother couldn't say anything. She just looked at Hana. Kyle is the real culprit. Her mother's face crumbled. What do you mean? It was all captured on CCTV. Hana explained quietly. About Dad's notes, the USB, and what happened last night. Her mother cried the whole time she listened. I'm sorry, Hana. I'm so sorry. Her mother hugged Hana. I didn't know. I really didn't know. Hana also hugged her mother tightly. I know, Mom. It's okay. The two stayed like that for a long time. 2 days later, Detective Park called. Hana, I have good news. Hana held her breath. We arrested Kyle Jefferson. Really? According to the video analysis, he's definitely the culprit. Your father will be released soon. Hana almost dropped the phone. Tears poured out. Thank you. Thank you so much. She ran to her mother and told her the news. Her mother cried too. They were tears of joy. Dad's coming back, Mom. Yes, your father is coming back. The two hugged each other and cried. That night, Hana entered her father's room. It had been a long time. It smelled like Dad. On the desk were Dad's glasses. Hana touched them carefully. I'll see you soon, Dad. Looking out the window, it was raining. But this rain was different. It wasn't sad. Rather, it seemed to wash everything away. The pain, the fear, the misunderstandings. Hana smiled quietly. She sent a text to Uncle Dave. Uncle, Dad's coming out soon. Thank you so much. A reply came right away. Congratulations, Hana. You're really amazing. Your father will be proud of you. Hana's heart felt warm. Tomorrow she could see her father. It had been 3 months. Hana thought about what to say. But words wouldn't be necessary. She just needed to hug him. That alone would be enough. Hana lay down on the bed. For the first time in a while, peaceful sleep seemed to come. Tomorrow was a new beginning. The family could be together again. That was all Hana had wished for. Now that dream was about to come true. The front of the prison was quiet. Hana and her mother stood in front of the door. They held hands. Are you nervous? Her mother asked. Hana nodded. Very much. 3 months had passed. It was a long time if you think about it. Hana had changed a lot during that time. She was no longer just a quiet child. She learned how to fight. That when you have something to protect, you don't back down. The door opened. Dad came out. He was still Dad, but he looked a little thinner. Beard had grown on his face. But his eyes were still warm. Dad. Hana couldn't hold back and ran. Dad opened his arms. Hana was embraced in Dad's arms. It was a familiar scent. The smell of home, the smell of Dad. I missed you, Dad. Hana's voice trembled. Me too. Really so much. Dad was crying too. Mom also approached. The three embraced each other. It was a family reunion after a long time. I'm sorry, honey, Mom said. No, it's okay. Dad held Mom's hand. Hana did everything. Our daughter. Mom had a proud expression. Dad looked at Hana. I heard you did it? Yes. Thank you, Hana. You're really brave. Hana shook her head. No, I was scared. But you did it anyway. That's real courage. At Dad's words, Hana burst into tears. The emotions she had been holding back poured out. Fear, loneliness, everything. It's okay. It's all over now. Dad stroked Hana's head. Let's go home now. The car ride home was warm. The three shared many stories about what had happened. I really need to thank Dave. Dad said, I couldn't have done it without Uncle. We're all meeting together this evening. Mom said, great. Let's eat together after a long time. They arrived home. Dad paused for a moment at the front door. He took a deep breath. I'm home. Dad's voice seemed overwhelmed. He opened the door and went in. Everything was as it was. But at the same time, everything looked different. It felt more precious. In the evening, Uncle Dave came. Dad hugged Uncle tightly. Thank you, my friend. I only did what was natural. Uncle smiled. It was possible because you were there. The table was full of food. Mom had carefully prepared it. The four sat around. Let's make a toast. Dad raised his glass. To being together again. Everyone clinked glasses. Laughter didn't stop during the meal. It was happiness after a long time. Hana wanted to remember this moment. Hana, Dad called. Yes? I'm proud of you. Really? Hana's face turned red. Dad, I'm here because of you. Don't forget that. Uncle Dave chimed in. Hana is an adult now. For real. That's right. Our daughter has grown a lot. Mom also said with a smile. After the meal, Hana went for a walk alone with Dad. It was time together after a long while. The streets of Portland were still damp. But the rain had stopped. Stars were visible between the clouds. Dad, were you scared? Hana asked. Of course. I was very scared. But when I thought of you all, I could endure it. Dad looked up at the sky. Especially you. When I thought about how hard it must be for you. Hana held Dad's hand. It's okay now. Because we're together again. Yes, that's right. The two walked for a while. There weren't many words, but it was okay. Just being together was enough. On the way back home, Hana said, Dad, what do you think will happen from now on? Dad smiled. It will get better. Slowly but surely. I believe so too. Hana, what do you want to do now? Hana thought for a moment. I want to live normally. With Dad and Mom. Yes, that's the best. Dad put his arm around Hana's shoulder. Let's do that. Live normally. When they arrived home, Mom was outside. You're late. I was worried, but her face was smiling. The three entered the house together. Taking off her shoes at the entrance, Hana thought. This is home. This is family. That night, Hana wrote in her diary. It had been a long time. Today, Dad came back. 3 months passed, but Dad was still Dad. I was very scared and cried a lot. But I didn't give up. And I realized how important it is to protect the people you love. That sometimes you have to move forward even when you're afraid. Now our family can start again. It won't be perfect, but it will be okay because we're together. Portland still rains a lot. But now I think that rain isn't so bad either. Hana closed the diary and looked out the window. The moon was up in the night sky. The clouds had cleared. Tomorrow she would go to school. She didn't know what her friends would say. But it was okay now. Hana was no longer alone. She had family, the truth was revealed, and there was a future. That was enough. Hana turned off the light and lay down on the bed. For the first time, her heart was at ease. In the darkness, she heard Dad's voice. He was talking with Mom in the living room. Just that sound made Hana happy. We'll be okay. Hana thought that and closed her eyes. Tomorrow was a new day. In the city where the rain stopped. Hana's new story was beginning. The end.